17 years ago, the brutality of terrorism hit London as 4 coordinated bombs were detonated across the capital. Years later, the scale of violence across Europe shocked the world when 2 suicide bombers targeted Brussels airport and the metro line. And at Westminster Bridge, a van was used to crash into anyone in its path. And in Manchester, children were targeted as terrorists instilled fear in a new generation. But as the country remembered, survivors could never forget.
My eyes have opened up to things that, personally, I don't think a 12-year-old should have, been thinking about.
Everyone here has been exposed to vicious acts of terrorism. Joe was in London during the 7/7 attacks. Charlotte's husband was killed in Brussels as a bomb was detonated on his train to work. Travis was run over in the attack on Westminster Bridge. And at the Manchester Arena concert, Kath and Abby remember the moment the bomb went off every day. Something Stuart will never forget either, knowing his stepson died moments later.
How did we end up here as a group? We were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's we talk about this quite a bit, don't we? It's sort of an unfortunate club that you find yourself in.
And obviously, Joe, you experienced this attack so many years before we've had other attacks. What did you feel when there were yet again more attacks in the country?
You're like, I can't believe it, not another one. Surely not, surely not. But it's the way of our world.
Why is what you've all been through so different to other traumas that people experience? Why does it need such specialist care?
Now, of course, there's family and friends that you can speak to, but you also don't want to burden them with, the real sort of traumatic details of what you've experienced. In that immediate sort of aftermath, a lot of my focus was on the physical injuries. Myself and a group of my friends who were all hit by the car. Fortunately, the other lads received sort of glancing blows, whereas I ended up going over the bonnet essentially and hit the windshield and went into the air. But that's not to say, I think it's important that we note that, it's unrealistic for us to assume that anyone would experience something like this and get through it unscathed.
We carry the whole nation's sufferings. My own loss is amplified because everyone is feeling the same thing. I think there's a recognition that it is different. There's a recognition nationally, there's a recognition in Parliament, in Number 10. So you have a disparity in a way between politicians coming out and saying we're standing shoulder to shoulder with victims, we're making sure they get the help, this is an attack on all of us, and then when you actually reach out to get the help, it is an above and beyond. It's going to your doctor and being told you are going to join a 12-month waiting list, and there's a huge sort of disconnect between what is said and what's delivered.
Stuart, I know that is the type of experience that you are trying to improve for people.
It frustrates me as a GP, I've worked in the NHS for 30 years, that kind of thing isn't recognised. I was shouting how ridiculous it was that we have to pay private to get help.
It's so incredibly important for young people. I mean, within the Manchester Arena attacks, so that includes thousands of young people who were triaged brilliantly, but all they could do was pass us on to the existing services that were already struggling.
And I want to talk to you now, Abby, because actually you're exactly what Kath is talking about. Do you ever think about the day?
Yeah, quite a lot.
By choice, or is it just always?
Yeah. I think people don't understand that it's an event itself, but it is a knock-on effect of everything else around you. So, and after the actual attack, a few days after, we went to our GP, and she basically just said, "Oh, you'll be fine." I don't know, just trying to deal with it when I couldn't process it myself. I still needed someone to give me a path.
How would you describe what terrorists took from your lives?
Sometimes I think they took everything from me. They took my safety, they took my son's safety, they took my partner. For me, it's really important that they don't win.
we lost Martin, and we would give everything to go back and have him back. But I have to focus on the positive. Felt love, and I've met lots of amazing people. So I see it that Martin was able to give a lot to the world.
There's nothing that the regular Joe on the street can do to prepare for something like this. But that is why we need to have this sort of specialist training in place for people to provide that support where required, before it's required, because once an attack's already happened, it's too late.
And too many lives changed forever, something the government says it is helping with through funding and support services. But too often, it's the kindness of community that helps ease the pain for those left behind. Sangeeta Lal, ITV News.